Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here, Spirit Silver Moon for Harmony Energy Healing. And I want to talk today about the root causes for unwellness. And this can be happening on many levels. Today I'm actually going to be talking about it on a physical level because most of the time my videos are about emotional or spiritual healing. And so sometimes when we have, how do we say it, there are things buried in us or whatever, and we have triggered reactions, or we have pain, anger, resentment, grief, guilt, unforgiveness, whatever it is that we carry, that creates behaviors that are not ideal and behaviors that can be very destructive to self and to other relationships and to our well-being on many levels. So sometimes when we're doing that kind of work, hypnotherapy work, shamanic journey work, things like that, we will work through it and go deeper into it to try to find the root cause of the problem. And sometimes the human conscious mind doesn't know what the root, our conscious mind doesn't know what the root of the problem is, but our subconscious mind does. So sometimes we will work with the subconscious mind to do that work. But this video isn't about that. So I grew up knowing and learning about herbs and vitamins from my grandma. And so I have some knowledge of it and am always learning more. And so I'm very open to, even in the Bible it says, it talks about different herbs, you know, that we need for, to restore our well-being. So it's good to learn about those. Many people are very open to it, and it can be integrated with other modalities. So some people who are going through traditional type of medical treatments might incorporate, you know, homeopathic or natural type things as well. And it's good to research and find out what, you know, works together or doesn't. Now, sometimes the medical association and those trained there might not want you doing that because they either don't believe in it because they weren't taught it, or they don't know. Okay. Like my doctor is both like a regular doctor and a natural doctor, and so I'm very thankful for that. So what brought me to this awareness, and this is an invitation for people to investigate. That's what this video is about. I'm not a medical practitioner, I'm not a doctor, I'm not claiming to be, and I'm not giving advice. I am sharing information that I have learned to date. So this came about with learning about adrenal fatigue, okay, like where people go through a lot of stress, which we all do, okay, and maybe especially at certain points in our life, a certain age, it might be more of a thing. So where we get adrenal fatigue, which I was experiencing, and then that ties into other things. So there are ways that the thyroid is tested, and some doctors, especially the natural ones, will do more thorough tests, a little bit more deeply to see how the thyroid is doing. Okay, and so they have a range that they call normal, and they, you know, you might be in the normal range, but there's also numbers that they go by, and the numbers might be high or low, so it might be sluggish or like hyperactive or whatever that affects things. But what's causing it? Okay, so I've been doing a lot of investigation, and a lady who I'm very thankful to told me to check for something. So, and people will sometimes get like white on their fingertips in the winter, especially if it's really cold, the fingertips will start going white, and it's called Raynauds syndrome, but they don't know what causes it. It's stress, cold, whatever. Well, I started to research and started to find out that all these things are connected, they're all tied together. So I know this is going to be backwards, but I found this book by the medical medium, highly recommended, Thyroid Healing. He also has one called Liver Rescue. So because our body is speaking to us, our organs are speaking to us, and this is the thing. Invaders. So when people get a virus and their immune system knocks that out or whatever, and it goes dormant, there's still that virus in there somewhere, but the immune system kind of typically will take care of it. This video is about the Epstein-Barr virus, the EVP mononucleosis, which 90-something% of the population has had. Usually when people get it, it's also called the kissing disease or whatever, but usually when people get it at any age, They have very sore throat, swollen glands, so it feels like a flu or something. So sometimes people have these symptoms, but they don't know exactly what's causing them. So in this case, they test with a blood test to find out if the person has that. And usually the immune system will take care of it. Here's the thing that many of us don't know. Here is the reason I'm doing this video. It is to invite you to investigate a little bit further, to make adjustments, corrections, whatever for your health and well-being if you choose. This is all choice. But sometimes we need knowledge to direct us. So this one lady, she does the thermography stuff at my natural doctor place, and I was talking to her about the Raynauds thing, and she said, to get tested for the Epstein-Barr virus. She said most people have had it, and sometimes people have it going on underlying in ways that they're not aware it's there, and it can be treated with antivirals, is what she said. So I mentioned it to my doctor, and she goes, well, I don't know if I'd want to use like traditional big pharma like antivirals. But so the blood test will show if you've had it and if you have antibodies to it, and it'll also show if your body's still currently trying to fight it. So here's the thing. I think whether it shows is active or not active, what happens is when people go through something extremely stressful, like the breakup of a relationship or divorce, like loss of a loved one, financial issues, just whatever things we experience in life that are very traumatic, or at least we feel they are as we're going through them. These things sort of weaken our immune system in a way. It's so much stress on our body, and we're putting out all these adrenals, which feeds this virus when it decides to come out of hibernation and go, oh, this person's in a weak state right now, let's just go ahead and gung-ho. And so it's in different parts of the body. It affects the adrenals. It affects the thyroid. It can cause MS. I mean, it can cause problems with the nerves. It can cause certain kinds of cancers. So I'm trying to think what else. There's just different things. It can cause the Raynauds. It can cause depression. It can cause just issues with nerves, tingling. There's a lot of things that can cause. So what happens is people are going to the doctor with symptoms, and the doctor's treating the symptoms. A lot of doctors are not looking more deeply. They're not saying, hey, why don't we check for this? Some of them are, but some of them are not saying, why don't we check for this? So that's when you are armed with knowledge now. If you want to investigate this further, there's lots of stuff online about it, that you can say, can we test me for this? Because if you're tested for that and you find out that something's going on, okay, that you weren't otherwise aware of, that ties into all these other symptoms you're having, you need to strengthen the immune system. This guy has a 90-day diet where he's telling you what foods not to eat and what foods to add in and what supplements to be taking. There are some very powerful natural supplements that you can take to strengthen your immune system. So this virus likes heavy metals. So like if you eat a lot of fish and there's a lot of mercury in the fish, it likes the pesticides and herbicides that are on the non-organic vegetables, they're foods that we eat, that we're consuming. Certain things in our diet for a while need to be cut out. He said if you put an egg in a petri dish and you put the the Epstein-Barr virus in there, that it will proliferate very quickly. It likes eggs and dairy and things like that that are in our diet. So he talks about this kind of stuff, how we can sort of restore our health and well-being. So there's things going on that we don't know about. The medical industry is fabulous for what they can do to a large degree to help people, as far as the knowledge and the tools, but they don't incorporate everything. Okay, so some people are dying from diseases that are caused by this. So if you can stop this, you can stop the disease. Dis-ease. Your body's out of balance. Okay, so it's just important that if you're having any medical issues where you are just not feeling right and you go in for your doctor and you're going for a blood test, you might specifically ask, please, to be tested for that. Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, okay? And then, you know, sometimes they say, oh, don't investigate too much on the internet because you might freak yourself out, or you're not getting the accurate information and it might not apply to your situation. But you can still gain knowledge and you can still be directed. There's also something that they do for it called ozone therapy. where they will actually do intravenous, where they pull blood out, put oxygen with it, put it back in, and the oxygen kills viruses. Okay, so there's different things that you can do for your health and well-being, but really it's just about being armed with knowledge. So the purpose of this video is to share some knowledge, and it's an invitation to go deeper, to find the core root of something that's causing issues in your life, for unwellness of some kind. So a lot of people don't know about this, but I think, which is amazing, like unbelievable, strangely weird, that there isn't more awareness of it, or that something's not being done on the level before these things get blown way out of proportion. And it also says that like your body needs zinc. Like sometimes the other thing is deficiency. So it's not just the hardships and the stress, it's deficiencies. So like if we're deficient in like zinc, like sometimes people have ridges in their fingernails, that indicates a zinc deficiency. So, and we're deficient a lot of the time in iodine, which comes from kelp, and we just don't have it readily in our diet. Iodine and zinc, or kelp and zinc, are good for many reasons. Okay, and that helps knock that out. And people who get, I guess they get these, what are they, like little nodules or nodes on their thyroid. What it is it's the immune system using calcium to encapsulate the virus in these little calcium prisons, is what he says in the book. So our bodies need more of these trace minerals, and sometimes we're deficient in them and we don't know. Okay, so it's good to find out. There's testing we can do to check our adrenals. It's a saliva test. We can check there's a hair test that checks for minerals. Things that we can do to dig a little bit deeper, okay, than a regular test, like a blood test, which changes with things, and it might not be like extremely accurate, is what it says. So to be tested, be proactive to make changes, different choices, whatever, and then test again. It also has a lot to do with your thoughts, what you're focusing on, what energy you're sending yourself, and hopefully it's not through fear, but through visualizing the outcome that you want, and sending love and healing, or whatever it is, in the way of thought forms, in the way of meditation, to where the healing is needed. And there's a lot of things that might be contributing, because there's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical. So it's a lot of different levels. But for the physical level, this is just a little awareness video to learn more about mono, or the Epstein-Barr virus, that can come back into play when we are in a weakened state, or when we have deficiencies, and it's hiding out and playing havoc, wreaking havoc with our system, and we don't know what's causing it, and some doctors are not checking for it. I'm sorry, but it's a thing. We have to ask, and then when we ask, it opens up this other stuff, like, oh, okay, so now we know maybe what more to do, or what more to focus on, instead of throwing like pills at it, or something like that, or at least not certain kinds of pills. Yeah, so I think that's it. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's things that are good for it, which is L-lysine and monolaurin. Monolaurin is a derivative of coconut. Things that are very powerful for our body. There's foods that we need to cut out for a while for healing from this, and to get back into balance. And then foods we need to be putting in they're really extremely helpful for boosting our immune systems. So that's it for this video today. Peace.